everybody, and welcome to another episode of Hanukkah Erotica Book Club. I am Raizel, and I'm joined by Malya, my stepsis and co-host. Hi, Mal.
Hi. Shavua Tov.
Shavua Tov. How's it going?
It's good. This is a first for us. I don't think we've ever recorded on a Saturday night, right?
Yeah, I think we've thought about it, but never actually dipped our toe in.
Here we are.
How do you feel?
I feel good. I mean, Saturday is exhausting because it's like we've just made it through 25 hours with no screens and 4 kids. So I feel always a little bit like I've survived a war. But
that's hard.
I feel okay. I feel pretty good.
Great. As soon as it's over, do they turn on screens or go to bed?
Oh, they turn on screens. I mean, if I could throw my body in between them and the screens, sometimes we can manage to avert it, but most of the time I don't even bother. I just let them get it. Let them get it out, and then they go to bed.
Yeah. We had a sick week in the house, so there was a lot of screens, and Binny watches such weird stuff on YouTube. I really try to limit it. Do you know who the Ninja Kids are?
Yeah. Oh, Barry's obsessed with the Ninja Kids. She could watch them for 1,000,000 hours.
Yeah, Binny loves the Ninja Kids.
Oh my God, they should bond over that. Oh, yeah. Now, and little baby Julius can sing the Ninja Kid weird theme song. That's how much it's just on in the background of his life.
Too, because it really affects it affects her. She doesn't watch YouTube during the year. It's I prefer her watching other stuff to YouTube. Right. But she was sick, and it's so many hours of, she needs to fill the time. She's like, can I please watch YouTube? Can I please watch YouTube? You could watch the Ninja Kids. Because I'd rather Ninja Kids than weird kids playing with dolls. You ever see those?
That's the word. Oh my God. Yeah. Sammy watched a lot of that as a toddler. It's horrible.
So that we haven't seen in years. Thank God. Years.
Yeah.
It's she forgot about that. I never want to see unboxing and then kids playing with dolls. Cookie Swirl C.
The weirdest thing is adults making weird kid voices playing with dolls.
Yes, that's what it is. Cookie Swirl C is definitely an adult. You're right. Cookie Swirl C. Anyway.
Horrible.
I've not forgotten, but she has. Anyway.
Good.
She's like, what about the Ninja Kids? I'm like, yeah, you know what? You can. Or Salish. Do you know Salish and her dad? Sometimes Salish is in Ninja Kid videos. Salish is another person. She's not a Ninja Kid, but she's ninja adjacent.
Oh, she's very peppy and always doing splits.
Oh, no, you're thinking of Anna McNulty. God, I'm really an expert on
I don't know any of their names. I just see them.
Anna McNulty. I know Salish is peppy, but I know you're talking about Anna McNulty, who's always doing splits.
The one who's always doing splits. Yeah. She must be.
But she's contortionist. The redhead.
Isn't she 12 years old?
Okay, I actually Googled it this week because of how much YouTube we were watching, and Anna McNulty's 22.
Oh, ugh.
She's not 12. She's 22.
Wow, okay.
Well, maybe she was 12 in some of these videos, but I don't think so. I think they're new. Binny was watching yesterday. She's like, one was just posted an hour ago. I'm like, oh my God, watching too much if you're seeing that. Anyway,
totally. It gets into their heads too. I hear mine now they play, and one's like, well, I'm a cheerleader.
Yes, well, Binny is a cheerleader, actually, so it does. But as she was going to sleep the other night, she's like, I think I want to redo my room and make it vibier. I was like, what video did I miss today where they have obviously redid someone's room and made it vibier? Her room is very vibey. I was like, I don't even know how to make your room vibier.
Wow.
Anyway, I know our listeners are not here for this.
No, they're not. This is another podcast, but I could do it. I mean, it's really something.
There was one I liked this week, though, where one of them, Salish's dad, I think it was, or the Ninja Kid's dad, they were trying out babysitters and they were doing tests, and the babysitters didn't know there were tests. And they were all being recorded.
Oh, wow.
But then it flashed to a kid in a tree recording it. It's not secret cameras hidden in the Love Island villa. It's just a dude with a camera in a tree.
Right.
So of course they saw it.
The parents in those videos are so peppy too. They're so enthused.
Yeah, but wouldn't you also if you were making millions off your YouTube channel?
Yeah, of course. I totally would. But I feel it gives my children an an unrealistic standard of what they can expect of me, which is just not that level of peppiness about anything.
Literally, Binny and I were having a conversation tonight about are you happy I'm your mom? And she listed off other people who she also think would be great as her mom, and I thought she was about to start to say YouTube parents. but she didn't.
Other people that she knows in real life who would be great as her mom?
Yeah. Other people in real life. She listed 4 or 5.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That would be great moms to her.
Good.
But I was like, well, they're kind of like aunts. Like they're like, you know.
Right.
They're kind of
nice
like aunts. She's like, they're not. She goes, they're not my aunts.
I'm glad that she appreciates that.
Yeah, she's like, they're not my aunts. They're great moms. They'd be great. But
Do you call like your friend's aunt whatever?
No.
Right. Because I do think that's like it would be weird if she thought that your friends were her aunts or like had that in her head. I find
she doesn't think that. We don't say it, and she 100% knows they're not. And that's why when I was like, well, I guess they're kind of like your aunts. She goes, well, are they like your cousins? It's like, no, they're like my best friends.
See,
but I'm
just playing it out.
That she was saying my best friends' names as that would, people that would be great moms, and not Salish's dad.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
Thank God.
Or Anna McNulty's,
Yes, that's a positive referendum on your parenting, I think, for sure.
But last thing on this is that there are Ninja Kid gyms now. The Ninja Kids not only make YouTube videos, they opened gyms. Benny's like, can you Google where the Ninja Kid gyms are? And I kind of thought she was kidding, but no, they exist.
For kids, I guess.
Yeah, like the best trampoline park in the world. Although it gave me the feeling that maybe it was like Fire Festival, that like the pictures look like it's the best trampoline park in the world, and you get there and it's just like
one trampoline sad. And then like a bunch of cardboard cutouts. Yeah, totally. Yes. That could really be. Well, I really hope my kids, as it is, they're already like asking for gymnastics classes, and I'm like, well, since no gymnastics classes pick up directly from school, no.
Yes, they do love them, but. That is one thing. The suburbs, there's more access to some of those giant gyms. Like she could never have been a cheerleader if she were in the city because that stuff doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah, I've never heard of any cheerleading at this age.
It's not a thing.
There are there's gymnastics. A mom was bragging to me about how her kid was scouted on the playground as like a 3-year-old.
That's scary.
I was like, I think by scouted you mean just like marketed to. Because now you're paying like $700
like mall agencies in the mall. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, but that's a scam.
Yeah.
Okay, if we haven't lost everyone by now, we review Jewish romance books on this podcast. This is a podcast where Malya and I review Jewish romance books, and we are also parents.
We are,
and so sometimes we veer off. This was the biggest, I would say. This was a long veer. This was a long time.
But we can reel it back in because I really want to talk about this book, actually.
Can't wait. Okay. So tonight we're talking about Kissing Kosher by Jean Meltzer.
Yes.
And I had mentioned Jean Meltzer every now and then on this podcast because she's a well-known Jewish romance author. We hadn't read her. Her first book was The Matzah Ball, which we haven't read on the podcast. I've read. And then she wrote Mr. Perfect on Paper and this book, Kissing Kosher. And I was like, you know what? I think it's time. And when I had just read you the description, you Mal were like, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are. Kissing Kosher.
Good recap. Yes.
We find ourselves in another bakery situation.
Yes. Yes, we're back to bakeries. This had a little bit of the menorah in the middle vibe, just like family business, bakery, trying to save it, trying to figure out like the magical, but very different. I'll just
start home for the holidays.
A little bit of home for the holidays. That's right. They were a bakery too. Right. Thank you. We've had a few bakery scenarios.
What were you saying you're just curious about?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I'll just skip to it and say, like, this was one of my favorite books we've read. Like, I'm glad, I totally understand why she's so well known.
God. I'm so glad to hear it.
I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. It was one of the best.
That's amazing. What did you love about it?
Okay, I felt like the Ethan and Avital, who are the leads, had great chemistry. I just was really rooting for them and wanted them to get together. It was it reminded me a little bit of like some of the Lynn Solomon books in that like the characters were complicated, they were struggling with illness. In this book, the female character struggling with chronic pain, but it kind of reminded me of, like creating heroes and heroines with serious issues that they're struggling with, not just sort of like picture cutout types.
Totally.
And that, and their struggles really become part of the romance, which I loved.
Yes.
But I thought that this book was way Jewier than the Lynn Solomon books. I mean, like, it
Rachel Lynn Solomon. I can't believe you're forgetting her first name is my first name.
Lynn Solomon. Sorry. Thank you.
Rachel Lynn Solomon. Isn't it Rachel Lynn Solomon?
I think you're right. I don't know why Lynn Solomon is what stuck with me. Well,
okay, her. She's the one who wrote
Weather Girl.
The Weather Girl, the X Talk, which we didn't read yet on this podcast, a lot of YA books. She's very good, and all of her, it's so
she's
true.
Great. I really,
yes. But those characters are not religious in any way. They are Jewish. Yeah. But these characters are more observant, and also not. They have a more. The books are definitely have more Jewish content for sure.
Yeah, and it was like quirky Jewish content, like that I didn't expect in such a sort of mainstream feeling book. There was like I felt like nuanced, quirky Jewish elements, and I just really appreciated that.
Absolutely. One thing is that I feel like probably we both know a lot of people who fall into this category or relate to it in some way is that they, both Avital and Ethan, like take on certain Jewish customs, traditions, while also not observing a lot of things.
Yes.
And they can pinpoint why and why not to some degree, but also not always. Like at one point he's like, "You called me on Shabbat," and she's like, "You picked up," like something like that. Like, yeah, right. We both make phone calls and answer the phone. They're right. saying to each other, but also like keep kosher, do all these things.
Right.
The
totally.
thing is. I agree with you that it's like it does feel like a really mainstream book, but has so many Jewish references and Jewish tradition and Jewish identity kind of woven in.
Yes.
This idea, okay, so just in terms of a little bit of plot for our listeners is that they both come from rival babka Jewish kosher bakery empires.
Yes.
But one is like a Brooklyn bakery cranking out kosher pastries, mostly babkas, but other desserts also. And the rival one like seems to have kind of sold out to become more like an Entenmann's.
Right. Totally. Or I was trying to think of what like the Jewish version of that is, because there are some like mega kosher, like, I don't know, like I was thinking of Pashkas, but that's like a candy company.
It's
but like
candy, but because I was also thinking like Zadie's, but the thing is that they're not so big. Like it probably is just a family business, because also I follow Zadie's on Instagram, and there was literally a fire a few days ago, and it's like,
oh God,
due to the fire in our shopping center, will be closed for a while, and I'm like,
oy.
The challahs every Friday that come home in my kids' bags, like those are all Zadie. What? The cookie tray that came to our Hanukkah, like the Ripped Bodice event, tray from Zadie's.
Oh.
So, I think that to me, some of them feel like maybe bigger, but probably they're like Green's babka.
Right. They're not on the level. No, they're not on the, this seems like it's on the level of an Entenmann's, this mass produced.
Like Lippmann's
right. Yeah.
So there's like Avital's family's bakery in Lippmann's, and it was started by Avital and Ethan's grandfathers, and who were best friends at a certain point, and then were absolute rivals. But here's the thing, like, I don't like to be a stickler for this stuff, but I also can't help it. Like, part of the issue was that there was a pumpkin spiced babka that was best selling, and there was a fight over the pumpkin spice babka recipe. And the thing is, like, pumpkin spice babka, like, did pumpkin spice come on the scene within the past 2 decades?
Totally. Yeah, pumpkin spice would never have been a thing like in grandparent days. No. Well, it wasn't supposed to be an old world food. It was supposed to be something that the grandfathers invented. But I just don't even think that would have been on their radar, back.
Okay, you're right. Maybe that's not old world, but like, I just don't see any like herring, whitefish eating grandparent of Avital or Ethan.
Totally. And those grandparents were quite stereotypical. Like they weren't supposed to be like hip modern grandparents. Like they were pretty stereotypical. They weren't like the
grandparents who were in Nantucket that made up Jewish community in Nantucket.
No. They were like They were like old school Hamish grandparents. Totally. I agree.
So what do they know from pumpkin spice babka?
No. They wouldn't have. I agree.
So that for me, make it chocolate. Make it, come on, make it believable. If you want to go out, cinnamon. We all know about cinnamon babka. We've watched the Seinfeld. Pumpkin spice.
Right. Well, they wanted to make it something that sounded original, but yeah, they had to pick something else.
Even that the pumpkin spice babka was the best selling. Like, do you even want a bite of pumpkin spice babka? Like, you personally, I'm curious.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not such a pumpkin spice. I mean, like, if someone was like, this babka is incredible, I would not try it. Like,
yes,
I'm not averse to it. But in a lineup of baked goods, that wouldn't call to me.
Right. So, okay. I'm going to get over that for the sake of the book and podcast, because how annoying is it for me to be like focused on this? But I was.
No, but I hear you.
Okay.
There was an error in the book. I thought that there was a little Jewish error in the book that I was very pleased with myself that I picked up on, that I also was like, I'm going to sound like such a clever clogs for bringing this up, but I feel like I have to. There was one chapter where she said, it's like the full moon on Rosh Chodesh, except that on Rosh Chodesh, it's the new moon. The beginning of the month is the new moon, not the full moon. So.
Okay, love that.
Just saying. There was so much, like, but that's part of why I love the book, was that there were so many, like, very sort of, I thought, very, like, high level Jewish details.
Oh, definitely. There really were. Okay, so they're rivals.
Yeah.
And Ethan is forced by his grandpa, who is the meanest, scariest person, abusive, horrible person.
Really horrible.
He's forced by his grandpa to go undercover, get a job at Avital's family's bakery to steal the pumpkin spice babka recipe. And he does so, and while it happens, they fall in love with each other. But the whole time he's there under this covert mission to steal the recipe, which is, by the way, so guarded. Like, they open early and bake it, so
only the family can is the ones who bake it. Yeah.
Okay, but they fall in love, and there's also so many other layers because he's a tortured soul, and has all this trauma from the death of his parents and his mean grandpa and the works. But she has seemingly a great family, but chronic pain. Right. That really kind of dominates her life. Like, she has chronic pelvic pain, and she's really sick, and it's completely taken over her life. Like, it affects her on a daily basis.
And she never really even wanted to work for this family bakery. She kind of retreated home to do it because she felt like she couldn't be in the world and have a job that wasn't where she couldn't get a certain level of, sort of lenience for needing to take off, needing to just like, do whatever she needed to do to keep her pain at manageable levels.
Right. So you couldn't pursue her passion, which was photography. Yes. Because of the pain.
Right.
There was chronic pain in the matzo ball also.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know about Mr. Perfect on paper. Maybe we should read it. We should read all of her books, but
I would.
There was chronic pain in the matzo ball too. And the thing is, like, a couple things. It's like, I think that it's really good to have that kind of representation, because I'm sure we've read other books with chronic pain and illness. I think Roz Alexander's book recently, there was eye disease. Like, we've read other books where this has come up.
Sure.
And there's like this intimacy in a relationship when you have to kind of get through this hurdle with a partner who's dealing with something and kind of get through it, navigate it together. And it's so intimate that I kind of like their sex scenes, like there was such an intimacy to it because it involved so much excruciating pain.
Right.
It was really kind of interesting.
That's like the huge conflict in their relationship. I mean, beyond the fact that like their grandparents, there's a little bit of a Romeo and Juliet thing going on, or I don't know what, like Hatfield and McCoys, because they're from these like rival families. But that's not really so much an issue between them. Like, even when she finds out, she's like angry for a minute, but then basically she just gets over it.
Okay, but like, to me, I was like, what? Okay, you're working at your family's bakery.
Right.
Pumpkin spice babkas, your life. You open the bakery at 5 a.m. so no one else who even works there, the people you trust, cannot bake this fakakta, gross-sounding babka, this best-selling babka. You're guarding it. You and your chronic pained pelvis are cranking out babkas at 5 in the morning.
Oh,
okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Some hot dude with a made-up last name is lying to you to get that recipe. You fall in love. I understand that she was already, the ship had sailed. But at what point in a relationship, if someone was like if Mitch today, like we're going on 10 years of marriage, was like, actually, like I'm like,
I'm here to steal your family.
Like, I don't know what, but like, okay, at this point, fine. Like, we have a family. We're 10 years in, like 10 years into marriage. I don't know, 12 years into our relationship. Like, okay, I love you. You're my life. You're my family. But if you're just dating someone or flirting with a guy at work, okay, that's what she was doing. Nothing had even happened yet. If you're just flirting with a guy at work and it turns out that he is lying to you, he made everything up with a fake resume. Yeah, I'm just very triggered by this lying thing.
Yeah, no, it was very intentional. It was a plot. It was
a lot lying to you, taking public transportation instead of driving like your grandpa's Tesla or something, lying about who you are, where you come from, your literal name, the fact that you're enemies and you're there to steal the recipe and burn your business to the ground. I don't know. At that point, aren't you like,
okay, goodbye?
I've been catfished.
Right.
I've been catfished. You're a sociopath who's lying to me.
Right.
I'm done. Isn't it a psychological thriller and not a romance at that point? Like those books where every other chapter, it's like
those other books, like with the podcast.
Yes. This guy has lied.
I know, except that we have a window. We're hearing. I hear what you're saying. But I feel like we're hearing the story from his perspective as well as hers. So we know that like he's really a poor just like pawn in the hands of his grandfather who's really been torturing him since he was a child. And like he doesn't like doing it and he really does love her. Like we know that it's genuine. It's not like one of those books with every other perspective where you don't know whether you can rely on the narrator or not. And in the end you find out like, oh, they're actually the killer. But you were kind of distrustful. You weren't mistrustful.
He's been Ethan Lipman the whole time.
No, you weren't mistrustful of him. Like, I don't know. I hear what you're saying. Listen, I hear what you're saying. The whole thing is very fantastic. I mean, like, it's a ridiculous plot line. Like, it's very elaborate.
You're right, though. Like, because the whole time we know he's attracted to her off the bat. Also, the first time he one of the first times he sees her, she trips and her skirt lifts up. She's bare ass. She's not wearing underwear. He doesn't know it's because she can't wear underwear.
Right.
He sees her butt. Tuchus is in the book, the whole book. There is so much tuchus, the word tuchus, not like actual ass. The word tuchus is in this book.
We've never used the word tuchus. I was just saying that I should use it more often. Like when I talk about kids or whatever, I always say tush. I never say tuchus. Tushy.
We're tushy family.
Maybe I should start to integrate tuchus.
I grew up with a lot of tuchus.
Did you?
But also with tushy.
Yeah, I go to tushy. Yeah.
Yeah. Me too.
Tuchus is not a sexy word to me. Like if you call something if you call something a tuchus, it like immediately takes it out of the realm of sexuality. Or a tushy. I feel like then it's just cute and like playful, but it's not sexy.
Right. I agree. Well, anyway, in this book it was.
Right.
A lot of tuchus. And so anyway, you're right, because we see that he does really love her. We see that he's attracted to her instantly. We see that he's feeling badly about this. We also see this window into his sister who lives in a residential inpatient kind of program.
Right.
Facility.
Right.
She has a lot of disability, special needs. I don't know all the details about Kayla, the sister. Do we know?
Well, I think it's like his parents died in a small plane crash when he was like a kid, and she was on the plane with them and survived, but was, I guess, had some kind of injury that affected her brain.
Okay. So he visits Kayla all the time.
Yes.
And adores her.
Right.
And so, you're endeared to him.
Totally. You see, he's such a sweetheart. And like, he's
Except
also
that he's
kind of
catfishing her.
Yeah, I mean, he's not really catfishing her. He's sort of along for this ridiculous ride, but from the beginning, he's sort of he's half-hearted about it. He's just doing it because he feels like he has to, because otherwise, his grandfather's constantly making these horrible threats to him that he'll just own him. He won't let him see his sister again, like berating him and name calling at the drop of a hat. It's really horrible.
Yeah, no, it really is. And there's also this storyline of his druggy brother who's like,
yes. So don't you feel, when was this book written? Because I feel like the attitude toward marijuana in general is very dated.
I know this book is new, but it's like the way Ethan and Avi talk about weed is like so prudish. I don't, as like,
they're
I'm
like,
not even
it's like drugs. Like, I don't know.
Like, the way they talk about it, I totally agree, is very nerdy almost.
Very nerdy. It feels like it's like a dare program, like from the 80s or something. Like it's very weird.
Yes.
Doesn't feel
like,
current.
Aren't you both in your 20s?
Yeah.
Like, anyway, his brother grows. His brother loves weed.
Smokes a lot of weed, right.
Smokes a ton of weed, knows a lot about it.
Right.
A real scientist, actually.
Yeah. And the grandfather, like at the beginning, the grandfather's like, your druggy brother. But I think, which is, makes sense for like an asshole 87-year-old to say, but I think that like Ethan basically thinks the same thing, like that his brother's like a drug addict. Like it just seems like a weird
felt
attitude.
The same way. Yes, I had the same reaction to but anyway, at a certain point, because she finds out that Ethan's actually a Littman and not Ethan Rosenberg, and like it's just over it in a second.
She gets over
Very
it.
hard for me to get over. I'll never get over it, but okay. I'll never trust again, but okay, she's over it. Fine, yeah. I get it. And at a certain point, he has an epiphany where he's like, I think that marijuana might help with the pain.
Right.
And so with the brother's help and also the help of a rabbi.
That rabbi felt like a mythical creature, didn't he?
Yeah, that rabbi was also the same guy at Summertime Jews. He was like, that rabbi went to that camp.
Totally. Because that rabbi didn't just sell them weed, he gave them a whole like kala class. Like didn't he give them it was like it felt like the meeting.
My wife had pelvic pain.
Yeah. But it was like, here's the thing about a relation. Here's like for 2 weeks a month, religious couples separate. Those boundaries create intimacy. Like it felt like I was like,
yes.
It felt like a class before a marriage. Yeah, it felt like a kala class. I was like, is this the rabbi that's going to sell them weed in the end? It was long also. It was a lot of talking.
Yeah. What do you think they want to do at the end of those 2 weeks? They want to jump into bed. And also, but then he was like, my wife and I, we have 4 gorgeous children. But after one of the deliveries, my wife developed pelvic pain.
Right.
I don't know where that went, actually. Maybe she started to smoke weed. It's
unclear. It was just like he could relate, I think.
Yeah, he was able to relate.
I don't think you learned what happened to the wife.
Yeah, how does she feel?
Right. We don't know.
Is she wearing undies?
Right.
So yes, the scenes with the rabbi were
a little over the top.
I loved him.
I liked it because I was just like, does she... Like, I wonder what her background is. This felt like a very specific, true-to-life character. Again, not a character that would be selling you weed, but it felt very real, which made it kind of funny and entertaining.
No, I think that there has to be, I don't know the details, but because now I've read 2 books that involve chronic pain.
Right.
Something about this, I do think something about this is autobiographical.
Sure.
Not the, the Babka empires and all this stuff. But like I do think that there's something there.
But I just wonder if she went to like a religious kala class. Like all the rhetoric felt very
I think that she's either modern Orthodox or grew up modern Orthodox. So I don't think that it's out of the
She's heard the stuff.
Realm of something she could have been exposed to.
Yeah. Well, anyway, and I wonder, I mean, I don't know. I guess I wonder if you've experienced pelvic pain or chronic pelvic pain, or you know someone who has, did the way that it progressed feel true to life, or was it like sort of an overly rosy? Because it basically felt like, okay, like they met with that rabbi, they really embraced his message of like boundaries and relationships, and they started, really focusing on just getting to know each other as humans. They went on a trip. He baked her cookies with weed in them. She got high. They had great sex. Isn't that basically what happened?
Thing is, that sex scene, there was one sex scene, I think this is the one where like it was after the rabbi's advice, where like he would do something like touch somewhere, and then she would either say like, I don't remember.
She kept rating it. She kept giving a number.
Oh, a pain number.
Yeah.
Like a 4 or a 7 or whatever.
Yeah.
And like there is something about that it's just so intimate.
Right.
I can't explain it in any other way. It's like, it's not exactly sexy, like, but it sort of is. Like there is something about hurting that much, and then the person that you love, like wanting to get through this with you and make you feel good. Because like it's what you want to feel during those moments is like the literal opposite. It's like pleasure, right? So like not just neutral, like, sure. And so he's like getting through it with her, and she's rating each thing he's doing with a number. And
he was amazing. I mean, he was like, that's the thing. He was like the ideal person. Like he was just like totally there for her and just wanted to get to the point where she would feel good and he would feel good because of that. Like,
right. But the thing is, like, there was something about it. It's like, it was a very hard read. Like it wasn't it was hard. It was like hard to digest, but also like kind of like very beautiful. And I don't know the answer about how kind of realistic it feels like in terms of the progression, because I'm sure that there's like through these journeys probably like bumps along the way and setbacks. But yes, in this case, like it seemed to work out.
Right. And I get it. It's a romance novel, so it's not going to be like, and then she had a flare up and the whole thing ended and that was it.
Right. Although they did though. Like there was definitely like,
there were moments that were like that. So I guess, they had some of their own bumps.
I think at one point, like, never speak to me again. And then when they're reunited, also the reuniting of the grandpas at the end.
Right.
You were my best friends.
Yeah.
I've missed you, and not a day's gone by that I haven't thought of you.
Yeah. Oh my God, those guys. Why couldn't they get it together earlier? I mean, like, come on.
Literally, their whole lives have gone by. It's like
crazy.
Mitch and I are doing a rewatch of all of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and right now we're up to Larry's Spite Store, where Mocha Joe has that coffee place he doesn't like, and there's like the wobbly table and the lukewarm coffee, and he hates Mocha Joe, and he opens Latte Larry's next door, the Spite Store.
Yep.
And like, this is like that. But except
That's
Mocha
exactly
Joe and
what
Larry
they did.
were enemies. This is a Spite Store situation.
Right. And just also like that the whole, it's weird that none of their family met. Like they seem like, well, at least the Cohens, Avital's family seemed like very loving. Like the grandfather's wife, like they were together for, she was still alive. They had a warm relationship. He had his
the grandfather's wife, her grandma.
Her grandma, her father, her mother, they were all there. They were all around him.
Yeah.
Why did no one encourage him? Like, pick up the phone, dude. Like, call your friend. Like,
no, they were like, anyone, if Chaim heard the word Moshe Littman,
don't even mention him.
Red. He would turn blue.
Right.
They thought
quiet. Everyone stop.
A heart attack during Shabbos dinner.
Yeah.
Don't say his name. Shah.
Right. But what a weird thing to like all collude to not say his name, as opposed to just colluding to like getting him to call the guy and make up.
You miss him. He's your best friend. You've been perseverating on this every day for 55 years.
Just call him. Like, and also like his whole family died. Like,
call him.
Just call him. What are you doing? So that part also felt a little like, they had to, but of course they had to for the story to happen. So that felt a little like, like contrived.
Yeah, but also kind of love that two old Jewish men embracing.
Oh, yeah. Very
missed
sweet.
You.
Great payoff. No, totally. Yeah.
And in the end, the bad grandpa kind of does a turnaround. He had visited Kayla every day during this time where Ethan and him were on the outs.
Right. Yeah, he's trying to He's trying to make up for lost time, I guess. And if
really
you were supposed to feel
nice.
sympathetic to him, like his wife died, his only child died in a plane crash. I mean, like he had some bad shit go on. So,
yeah,
you know,
horrible.
Yeah.
Maisha
Littman. And Chaim Cohen.
Chaim Cohen.
The two friends together again.
I also like that, like, their stores were across the street from each other in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
But on the outside of Littman's, which was no longer the factory or storefront at all, it said something like Greatest Babka.
Right.
Like, still said it on the building, even though, like, World's Best Babka, like, Best Babka was the Cohen company across the street.
Right. But he just kept it there. Yeah.
It's like if Yonah Schimmel's Knishes, like, across the street had a place that was, like, faded into the brick, like, an old faded awning of, like...
Right. Of, like, Best Knishes.
Best Kosher Knishes.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like also this a little bit reminded me of, like, You've Got Mail. Remember that movie where it was, like, the little mom and pop bookstore?
Remember it. Yeah. Shop around the corner.
Yeah, versus, like, the you know, the Barnes & Noble, like, you know, big...
Yeah. FOX, Fox's Books. FOX.
Thank you. Okay. You remember it way better than I do then. I remembered it was a little bookstore and a big, like, Barnes & Noble.
Yeah, the shop around the corner.
And also
Kathleen
he had
Kelly.
He had like a uncle, and his brother and uncle were like both little kids, right? That was a weird detail.
Oh, yeah. FOX. Yeah. That's how he knew how to spell Fox, because it was his last name. But he was in her bookstore, and she thought he was just spelling the word Fox. Like, could you spell it? And then she's like, could you spell cat? He's like, FOX.
Right.
But it was that Barnes & Noble, like, you know, the one right outside the subway station that closed on the Upper West Side. Obviously, we knew that. But yeah, it was Fox Books.
Right. It was our hood. Yeah, that was great. No, but I also felt like that movie was a little bit more like exploring that, like, you know, the shop around the corner is adorable, but there also is good to big bookstore chains, and they do bring books to more people, and they can sell more efficiently and at lower prices. You know, like, it explored a little bit like how there's kind of two sides to the story with that, whereas I felt like this book did not. Like, it was like Littman's was disgusting. They sold out. All their stuff was like preservatives and gross sugar. They had ruined all the recipes to make things cheaper, and it was all gross. Like, there was no, whereas, like, I don't know, I feel like you could tell that story in a more, like, it's kind of great to have a chain that's all kosher baked goods. And, you know, a lot of places you can't get fresh kosher baked stuff so easily.
Okay, yes, but I want to bring your attention to something.
Okay.
Have you had Sabra hummus recently? Versus, because you live in Brooklyn, I'm sure you go to kosher supermarkets every now and then. Like,
yeah.
Okay, but have you ever had, like, we recently had Sonny and Joe's hummus.
Okay.
And also Trina. I can't explain to you how delicious it was and how much better our whole week was eating this delicious hummus every day. Amazing. Mitch is like, I'm sure we don't have to go to aisle 1 every time we want Sonny and Joe's. Like, it's probably at ShopRite. We're going to find it somewhere. Don't worry. By the way, do you know about aisle 1? It's like Kosher Mall. It's like it's in Passaic. It's
in Passaic. What do you mean? Do I know about it?
Have you been to it though? But have you been?
No, I don't think so.
It's like a kosher Whole Foods, but then within this like whole, it's like a mall. There's like kosher restaurant. You got to go.
Do I?
We should be a sponsor of aisle 1. Aisle 1, hit us up. Okay. So
I would love to sponsor them. Yeah.
They have so much good hummus. But all kosher supermarkets have a wall of delicious hummus.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we have a friend who's a Yemenite chef. And he does deliveries around Brooklyn. So he comes and he brings us like fresh hummus that he just made, and it's
incredible. I can taste it right now. I'm salivating.
It's salivation worthy.
Salivating. I'm having a physical reaction thinking about it.
So, I mean, that versus Sabra's. I hear you, but also like
since Sonny and Joe's, but Mom, yeah. But since Sonny and Joe's, since that week, when your Yemenite one is it's completely, you can't even compare that to Sonny and Joe's. I know what yours tastes like. I could taste it right now.
Right.
I want it.
Right.
So the Sabra literally tasted like chemicals. When I was a kid, Sabra was a family-owned business. It was like a small. You could only get it in like the small little like Persian supermarket in Great Neck, right?
Right.
Sabra's was like a small business. Now sold out. Like Littman's.
Right.
Malya, I couldn't swallow it. It tasted like chemicals.
And you're saying Sonny and Joe's is mass produced, but it's still like fresh and
I think it must be smaller. I think it might be. I think it's a smaller company than Sabra. Sabra's probably was bought by someone. Like who knows who.
So you're saying there's no way to get that big without selling out?
I don't know. I'm just saying that one of my favorite products now tastes like toxic. I'm telling you, it tasted, something was wrong with it, but nothing was wrong with it. It's just like, that's how hummus is now. There shouldn't be such a long expiration date on something so fresh. It reminded me of this Lippmann situation.
Right, I hear you. Okay.
I don't know what to do. I think I have to go to aisle 1 and buy a bunch of Sun Angels. I don't know what to do.
You're saying you can't find it at any
I can't find it.
Stores that are closer by.
Maybe there's something in Elizabeth. Maybe there's something in Linden.
Or even just like
a lot of from Jews in Linden.
In just regular Whole Foods doesn't have like a hummus alternative that's kosher? They must.
I'll look. Maybe it's going to be delicious. There's a few other brands, but like, once a brand is doing something really weird with hummus, like I'm skeptical. Like, chocolate and hummus don't go to dessert hummus. I'm sorry. I think it's just
that's not a right.
By the way, I love a story like this. It's just once they start doing such weird stuff, like someone brought to a party we had boar's head artichoke hummus is like a thing to bring.
Okay.
Like boar's head to me is like, I don't know, like there's no more like not Jewish.
Boar's head is like ham
company
to me, right? Yeah,
it's like literal. Like I don't. It's like boar's head makes hummus.
That's funny.
What?
Wow, it's really entered the mainstream. Yeah. Hummus has like become like the food of Middle America. So weird.
So
it's great, I guess.
Like as a kid, it was like my pita and hummus sandwiches that I would sometimes bring to school. It's like that was like. It was like a very weird lunch.
Right. No one had that. Right.
That was like me being like a weird like kid of an Israeli. Like it's like a weird lunch to bring to school in like the 80s and 90s in Great Neck. Although then there's so many Persians, it probably wasn't that weird, but like weird for like my lunch table.
Sure.
Not anymore. There's hummus in every lunch box now.
Oh yeah. Especially because everyone's looking for a nut-free option.
Like this about hummus companies.
Rival hummus companies.
Love that.
Right, because a hummus recipe, like, because they're, because the ingredients are so basic, the recipe is going to make a big difference. You know what I mean? Like, exactly how you do it and the measurements and the technique are everything.
Yeah. Are you using candy? Are you using dried? Are you soaking them? Are you separating that like little like weird like condom over the chickpea? Are you pinching each one out to make it so smooth?
Right. How much are you blending? When are you blending? Is there lemon involved?
Honestly, you're making me want to make fresh tomorrow. That's what I want to do. I have a pound of dried chickpeas from Rancho Gordo where I get my beans. I want to soak them overnight and I want to make some tomorrow because I have real hankering. Your friend isn't delivered in New Jersey, right?
Unfortunately, no. But yeah.
He makes your sometimes food for Shabbat for you, like real food?
Yeah. Sometimes when we go to New Jersey. He made me once, he asked me for legal advice about like some restaurant deal that he was trying to get into. And he was like, can I pay you? And I was like, no, don't pay me. But like, if you want to make me a delicious Yemenite meal, I'm not going to refuse it. So he literally made us like that Yemenite, like spongy bread and like a big chicken stew dish.
It was jafnoon?
What's it called?
Jafnoon, it's like you dip it in a tomato sauce, like it's like dough.
It's spongy. It's like almost like Ethiopian like you could use it as the
that's
spoon.
Something else maybe.
So good. Everyone, if you're in the Brooklyn area, Noam Zabari hummus. He delivers. It's incredible. And he made and I was like, should I quit my job and start a legal business where I just advise people who make delicious food?
Yeah, and then they make me Yemenite chicken soup.
Yeah, because maybe that's my new career
I make my chicken soup with Hawaiian. Like I make Yemenite chicken soup. I love it so much.
So good. Anyway, Noam Zabari, delicious. Zabari's hummus.
Wow, that sounds great. All right. Well, we both love this book, and also I had some issues with it. I had more issues with it than you did, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know why. I was very willing to suspend my disbelief. I just felt very like, I don't know. I just took it for what it was. They were also so really cute, that like Best Babka Bakery crew. They were like an adorable, like they hired
ex-cons.
Like ex-cons and like women who were trying to get a get. And like, all these like, they're kind of like the riffraff of the Jewish world. And they like made this like sweet home for them in the bakery where they all felt included. Like,
yeah, so cute.
It was very cute.
Yeah, so cute. Then gorgeous, stunning Ethan Rosenberg comes in.
he was described like very sexy from the beginning, and she was beautiful too.
Yeah, she was gorgeous. That was obvious right away. He was, she Avital was, although I don't know that she felt beautiful. Although, here's another character who read romance, by the way. Did you notice she read romance books?
Did she? I forgot that.
Yeah. She was another character who read romance books. She was very attractive. He was gorgeous.
Yeah.
But both very, like, proud Jews,
really passionate about their, like, they really felt it. Like, they both had it seemed like pretty solid Jewish educations.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they knew a lot.
Because he was catfishing her, he, like, couldn't give her all the answers that she wanted. Because, like, I do feel like when two Jewish people get together, a lot of the questions are, like, where did you grow up? Where did you go to school? Like, I felt this so much when I moved to the Upper West Side, and within a week, I was like, oh, like, there's a handful of questions people are asking me to assess, like, where I am on this, like, Jewish spectrum in their mind.
Right.
And they're trying to understand, like...
Yeah, they want to peg
like,
you, like...
Everyone was like, where'd you go to school? And I would always be like, North? Like, Great Neck North? Like, what are you asking me? Who cares where I went? Right. But they were asking, like, what yeshiva I went to.
Yeah. Sure.
Or, like, trying to play Jewish geography.
Well, Avital's twin brother... There is a scene where Avital's twin brother, who I think is supposed to be more of the, like, typical kind of, like, Yenti Jew... does try to, like, play that game with him because he says he's from Westchester and he just names, like, a bazillion people from Westchester. But I think Ethan just said no to all of them because, like, I think he actually didn't know anyone because he had led this weird, like, cloistered life where he was just under his grandfather's thumb. But then I also think he couldn't acknowledge it anyway because he was hiding who he really was. So I think Josh just gave up eventually.
Like, you know my friend Ethan Rosenberg? They'd be like, Ethan Littman?
Right.
What?
Right.
The Babka Empire?
But it wasn't babka. They turned it into a donut. Remember, theirs was the pumpkin donut.
That's why it was so Entenmann's.
It was like Entenmann's, the donut. I was imagining that Entenmann's donut with the little balls on the top.
Yes, the nipples on top. Yeah, what'd you call it?
I said balls.
Oh yeah, that donut's so good.
It is really good. I haven't had Entenmann's in like many years, so I wouldn't actually. Maybe if I tasted it today, it would taste like preservatives. But the last time I had it, it was delicious.
The last time I had it was on a camping trip within the past, I would say, 9 years.
Okay.
But also, like, an Entenmann sheet cake, like, the way the frosting kind of, like, lifts up. I love the taste of the I mean, I don't know if I've had it within 15 years. To my Entenmann sheet cake, the frosted sheet cake.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Delicious.
I haven't had that in probably 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
But I remember that being... I remember every Entenmann's product being great, but also like their expiration dates are like in 20 years.
Right.
You know, can't have it all.
Yeah. Can't have it all. But if there's any truth to like the Babka Empire, like Green's Babka versus Entenmann's Bakery or any of that, that would be fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Because, I know there's history with, like, Jewish businesses knowing each other. Like I was saying when we were talking to, can't I think of her name?
Who?
Lolita at Leonard's of Great Neck.
Oh, Shira Dicker.
Yes. We were talking to Shira about how she mentioned my grandpa's store in Wallbaum's in the same sentence, but my grandpa and Erica Wallbaum's grandpa knew each other, like so. Like I do think that there is this kind of like history.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's cool. That makes sense. Yeah,
like these old Jewish businesses a lot of them did know each other. It's not like there were a million. It's like Jewish New Yorkers starting businesses at the same time. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, it's cool.
I feel like that's true in any industry. Yeah, but this was another level.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Wow.
I recommend it.
I really was one of my favorites. I just really enjoyed it. Like I liked all the twists and turns. I liked the reveals. I just thought it was fun.
It was. And I really I think I'm excited for you to read the others.
I would go for that for sure.
The matzo ball was her first, if you're curious, if you want to start there.
Okay.
And then there was the only one I haven't read is Mr. Perfect on Paper, and another one's coming at the end of August.
Oh,
maybe we should read it at the end of August. New one.
That would be great.
Yeah, as it comes out, let's read it right when it comes out. I think that's a great idea for us.
Okay, cool.
If I remember correctly, it was August 27th, but I'd have to look it up.
Wait, and I really just do want to say, because I really would love to give him a shout out because he's so awesome. the hummus guy that I was, the authentic hummus guy that I was talking about, if anyone wants to look him up on Instagram, it's Zabari, Zabari hummus, Hummus. And he periodically makes deliveries to Brooklyn and Queens. Noam Zabari. Just really delicious. We love him.
I gotta look him up. I'm gonna follow him.
Yeah, you really should. And maybe sometimes he periodically will put on, that he's doing deliveries to different areas. Maybe he delivers in Manhattan. We'll bring you some. We'll bring next time we see you.
Well, if he delivers them, maybe I'll get it delivered to work. Actually, and his stuff's kosher.
It's kosher, yeah.
So we could maybe have him do some work thing for me. Like sometimes we need catering.
His stuff is amazing.
It sounds. I could taste it. Just that. I don't know what I'm gonna do after this call. Like I have to eat something delicious. Okay, I don't know how I did that. My memory's so good. But her next book comes out August 27th.
Wow.
It's called Magical Meet Cute. So we'll read it then. It's called Magical Meet Cute, and it comes out. It comes out August 27th. Well, we're reading The Blue Tent next, which I think we should read the description to our listeners and talk about it. But I can read you the description of Magical Meet Cute if you're curious. Let's do it.
Sure.
Okay. Is he the real deal, or did she truly summon a golem? Is it golem? How do you pronounce that word? Golem?
Golem? I don't know.
Golem. I think golem. Faye Kaplan used to be engaged. She also used to have a successful legal practice. But she much prefers her new life as a potter in Woodstock, New York. The only thing missing is the perfect guy. Not that she needs one. She's definitely happy alone. That is, until she finds her town papered with anti-Semitic flyers after yet another failed singles event at the synagogue. Desperate for comfort, Faye drunkenly turns to the only thing guaranteed to soothe her, pottery. A golem protector is just what her town needs, and adding all the little details to make him her ideal man can't hurt, right? When a seriously hot stranger mysteriously turns up the next day, Greg seems too good to be true, if you ignore the fact that Faye hit him with her bike, and that he subsequently lost his memory. But otherwise, the man checks every single box, causing Faye to wonder if Greg's sudden and spicy appearance might be anything but a coincidence. Huh. Okay. It's
apparently a little odd description, but I'm up for it.
I don't know. It seems less Jewish to me, but I could be wrong.
Right.
The about the author is Jean Meltzer is a nice Jewish girl with a not-so-secret love of Christmas. After a childhood steeped in Jewish tradition, kosher food, loving bubbies, and awkward Jewish summer camp romances, she found her way to NYU Tisch, where she studied dramatic writing and earned numerous awards for her work in television, including a daytime Emmy. She spent 5 years in rabbinical school, finally discovering the magic of Hanukkah for herself before her chronic illness forced her to withdraw, and her father told her that she should write a book. Just not a Jewish one, because no one reads those. The Matzah Ball is her first novel. It combines all the things she loves: warm and supportive families, tight-knit Jewish communities, Ashkenazi baked goods, big and swoony endings, Jewish shtick and humor, Judaism, and of course Christmas.
So cute.
That was her author description for when she wrote the Matzah Ball. But yeah, there was a theme in there. The character was like Jewish, but secretly writing Christmas books. In the Matzah Ball.
Got it. Cute.
Which was very, apropos of how we started our podcast.
Of course.
Anyway, okay, that's a little bit about Jean Meltzer. Okay, Jean Meltzer seems like kind of big and doesn't know about us. Jean, if you're listening, we would love to have you on to discuss your next book.
Absolutely.
Thank you for everything
fans.
You're doing for
Yes.
Yeah, we're big fans. Thank you for everything you're doing for Jewish romance. Really.
We appreciate it.
We recommend your books. Okay. The Blue Tent is what's coming up next.
Yes.
Should I read the description one last time?
Absolutely. It's worth one last read, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's wow.
It's not kissing kosher, let's put it that way.
It is not kissing kosher. It's taking me a second to find it.
Span a wide breadth of literary genres here.
We do, and it's cool because it's really all falling into Jewish romance in some way or another.
Yeah.
But because our podcast is called Hanukkah Erotica, I would say the Blue Tent book is the first piece of erotica we've actually read.
Agreed.
We'll talk more about this on our next episode. But
also, it's worth mentioning that we found the blue tent because the author reached out to us through our Instagram and recommended that we read it, having seen what we're doing. So she saw it as falling in line with our what we read.
Yes, for sure. Okay, The Blue Tent, Erotic Tales from the Bible by Laria Zilber. The Bible is filled with tales of love and lust, but most of it is implied. What do we really know about the sex lives of our ancestors? The Blue Tent takes 10 sexy, spicy tales based on biblical stories and commentary and weaves them into erotic short stories you'll want to read over and over again, either by yourself or with your partner. Zzz. We meet Adam and Lilith, the woman who preceded Eve in the Garden of Eden. What was it about her sexuality that she had to flee from the garden? What does Abimelech see that convinces him that Isaac and Rebekah are not brother and sister? How does Tamar assert her dominance over Judah in order to become pregnant with his child? Did David and Jonathan have more than a platonic friendship? What really went on with Joseph and Potiphar's wife? And did the Queen of Sheba's mesmerizing qualities really inspire King Solomon to write the sensual Song of Songs? The Blue Tent takes us on a steamy journey behind the scenes of the tents, the gardens, and the palaces, and shows the bawdy, naughty sides they didn't teach you in religious school. Enter if you dare. Whew. Listeners, if you're reading along with us, it's hot and heavy. It's hot and heavy.
It really is. It's, yes. Really jumps right in there.
We'll talk about it next time.
Yep, we will. Join us then.
I don't want to spoil too much.
No.
But I'll just say this.
Yes.
There's oral sex on every page. I'll just say that.
There really was. Every single page.
Every page. That's all I'll say. I'll leave it at that.
That's a good teaser.
Read it.
Yeah.
Read it. And
come back.
You know what? On
discuss
our
more
next episode,
thoroughly.
We'll talk about it.
Yep.
Some dramatic readings.
We have to. If there's ever a book that warrants a dramatic reading.
There's amazing.
Okay. Can't wait. Okay. Lots there.
Can't wait. Okay. So we'll see you all in our next episode. Oh, this podcast is brought to you by Hanukkah Pong. Available on newishtraditions.com. Our listeners get 20% off of Hanukkah Pong, which is menorah-shaped beer pong, with the code Hanukkah Erotica, HANUKKAHEROTICA.
Nice.
And Malya thought it was funny when I said Hanukkah Pong reached out to us, but Mal, when I found this out about the code, I received an email, a formal email.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Hanukkah Pong did reach out to us.
See, silly me.
All right, good night.
Bye.
Follow us on Instagram, rate us. We're produced by William Levin, who we're so grateful to. Leave us a review. Share with your friends.
Please.
Okay. Bye.
Night.